Cheers. Hello, everybody. Our sponsors are beer, by the way, for this vlog. So, we are here today from the Think Different podcast, and we are here in my office. But we have a problem. We have a busted iMac here.
Yes, yeah.
What did you do, Tim? You broke your iMac.
I took it on the ground and smashed it.
Yeah, thank God he didn't. The screen is somehow still together, too. But what is happening here, this is actually a failing hard drive Mac. So we thought, this is a very old school Mac from like 2011, 2010, and we're going to repair this Mac. And our goal is to change the hard drive. So this video is all about changing the hard drive, but make sure you check out our podcast. Every Friday it comes out very early in the morning, because I posted it very early in the morning and listened to every episode. He's going to be asking questions while I'm repairing this Mac, just so everyone gets an understanding of the safety involved with this Mac, as well as repairing it, how to do it. So if you have one of these old school iMacs, I'm going to let you know right now, you can repair this yourself. And that is the goal of this.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tim, do you think you could repair it yourself if you really
Maybe after watching this video.
All right. Well, let's get going. So, we are going to repair this old iMac from 2011. So, first thing is, everything that I got from here is from iFixit.com. They are probably the best site that is non-Apple related, where you can buy the tools, you can download everything, and the first thing we're going to be doing is these guys. Now, you remember what these were, right, Tim?
Yeah, those are magnetic clamps.
No,
right?
they are not magnetic clamps.
I mean,
actually, these are suction cups.
Suction cups.
So, even though Tim was in the room, he really wasn't in the room. So these suction cups are important. And why is that, Tim? Do you remember this Mac, and what is the significance of these suction cups?
No.
Cool. So I'm going to actually take off the glass panel. So there's a glass panel and there's an LCD screen, where the iMacs you see today are all one solid piece. So all you have to do is put it down here, and then I'm just going to close the clamp, and then I'm going to pull it right off. Now you got to be careful, because what could happen, Tim, if I don't do this softly? I could break that glass.
It, yeah.
Yep, I could break the glass, and that would be a bad day.
Will, did you take any screws out to get this LCD display off, or it just came off right just like that?
Just like that. That's all it is. In fact, I'm going to leave this on here just because. All right, so I did something a little bit ahead of time where I took some of the screws out already, but there are 8 screws that hold down the iMac, and they're all on the corners here. There's a lot of other screws involved where, for example, here's the camera. We have the antenna right here, actually built right here. You have the speakers here on the bottom. So one of the things I will tell you about this iMac is a lot of people made a big mistake, and even I did this, when you take the screws out, but you're taking them out like this. But the easiest way to do this is to turn this around. Now, by the way, I also have this right here. Tim, do you remember about these guys?
Yeah, it allows it to not swivel back and forth.
Correct, that's the whole point of this. So the idea of this stand right here is to make sure the stand never, ever tilts. But the reason why we're doing it this way is, if I take a screw out and I'm leaving it up, what could possibly happen?
It could fall.
It could fall right into the Mac, and it goes all the way down the bottom.
Yep.
At least here, you have it completely, at least going this way, where you can easily get there. Now, I took already most of the screws out, but I wanted to leave 2 in because of these right here. These are the magnets that holds your glass panel in place, and they are strong. So one thing you want to do is I'm using what we call a T8-9 screw, or T8. And you just unscrew it out. Now, I'm using a magnetic. This is a magnetic toolkit, so this should attach, but as you know, see, it magnetically comes right attached to the Mac.
Is this a standard toolkit that you purchased?
Yeah, it's a standard toolkit. Again, iFixit. I think it's like 20, 30 bucks. It's very, very cheap to buy it. So I'm gonna do the last one right over here. As you can see, it's very strong. My screwdriver is actually attaching right to it. And as you can see, now the other thing that also will happen is it demagnetizes at the same time. So one of the things that is very dangerous when it comes to this, there it is. The magnets can actually kind of help take it off. There are 4 connectors that connect to this Mac. Now, this one up here is going to the backlight of the LCD. This is probably the most dangerous thing. Now, do you remember about the power supply of Macs?
Nope.
So the power supply, what's very important, and I cannot stress this enough, you should not take this Mac apart unless it has been discharged for 1 hour. Because if you touch this power supply, you will shock yourself and it will hurt like hell. So this Mac in particular needed about an hour. Most Macs today need about 2 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to disconnect.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference, yeah. So I'm going to disconnect this connector right here. We're going to disconnect this one. This goes directly into the LED. It goes right into the logic board. You have to squeeze the edges of the connector. All right, that is now out. All right, and the LCD screen is now off. Now another thing too, a lot of lint gets on here. I didn't get a roller, but if you have a way to clean the screen, be very careful with it because the smudges are pretty bad.
So pretty.
It is. Actually, you have to think about it. This is a 2011, 2012. There's not a lot of dust on this.
No.
So
pretty good.
This is actually a donation video because my aunt and my uncle had a failing hard drive and they had nothing to do with it. So the hard drive is right here, and this is what we're going to be replacing. So I'm going to be taking off the 2 screws on the top. So now we're going to take the plates out. So right here on the side here are the connectors to the hard drive. We're going to take them out. These are very easy, 1 and 2. Now some hard drives also have this right here. This is for temperature. That's what this sensor was for. So we're going to take that out, and now the hard drive's out.
But not all hard drives have that, correct?
Correct. Some of the later ones didn't require it. Now also you have right here this. You have to also take these off as well to connect to the new hard drive. So we're going to do that.
Look how pretty this is.
If you want to take shots.
Award.
Yeah. Yeah. I am 5-year. That was my 5-year at Apple. And of course we got my 10-year upstairs.
This is Will graduating.
What does it say there? Masters of the Arts of Communication, Arts with Distinction, and which has nothing to do with Apple.
Yes.
If you're looking to do data recovery, I recommend trying a $20 or $30 adapter that you can slide this right into, and then you can hook up an external drive, try to recover it if you can. If not, you have to go to data recovery and you're going to be paying a lot of money. So what's the most important thing that you must do with all your Macs?
Back up your data to an external hard drive.
Your data.
And Will, for our listeners, how expensive was the new hard drive?
This actually, the whole kit together was about $100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
What is this guy?
That is your CD and DVD drive.
Which is not on a iMac after this year, correct?
So this was the last time that you will see a CD, DVD drive inside of an iMac is this model.
Typically when visiting an Apple store, what is the quote time for a hard drive repair?
Typically this would take no more, as you can see, I'm already pretty much almost done. The repair time probably takes about 20 minutes if you're really fast. The thing to notice about this hard drive is there's a little bit difference in the connectors here. This is a hard drive temperature connector. It doesn't need it. So actually this cable is worthless now. The old drive will go into a static bag because you want to keep it nice and safe, Tim. All right, and then hopefully we'll recover it later. So that is now sealed in. We're going to turn this around again to make this easy. And we're going to put all the screws back in. And it's just going to shut close. And we're done. So iMac is now repaired. Now on here on my Passport Pro, I actually have a operating system already built. Now this is actually a smart idea. If you ever run into a situation where you don't have the ability to connect to the internet for any reason, it's always good to have an external hard drive with a Mac OS system built on it. There is a way to do it. Apple teaches you how to do it. There's an article that describes it. Now the goal is to turn it on, make sure it works. So let's hit the power button on the back. And
fingers crossed.
And well, power's on, so that's the most important thing. I'm holding down the Option key because what we're going to do is try to boot to the external drive. Now, I don't know because it's wireless. Hopefully it picks it up. And it did. So, as you can see right now, in most Macs, you would have a Macintosh HD here. Why don't we have one, Tim?
Because there's no hard drive present.
There is a hard drive.
But there's no software.
There's no operating system in it. So, I have an operating system built on here and a recovery. So we're going to boot to the recovery. And again, I held down the Option key right on boot. So we have to now start the install of the repair. So as you can see, we're inside recovery mode. When you hold down Command R on a working Mac, this is exactly what you boot into. So we're going to go to Disk Utility, and we have to format the drive to be Mac formatted. So when we do that, we're going to see hopefully the hard drive in here. So the hard drive that I installed now is right here. Then you you can rename a drive and call it the Macintosh HD. And when you erase it, you have the option to name it and give it a format. Now, as you can see, there are different options to choose. You have APFS, which has been kind of the new standard with most solid state drives. Now, if you have a solid state drive, I recommend doing APFS. However, macOS Extended Journal runs just fine. In fact, it's probably the standard for most Macs back in the day. So if you have a Mac that's probably older than 2016, I would say you would want to stick with macOS Journal. So once you do that and hit erase, it will then begin the process of erasing and formatting the drive. So now, once that you are back at this screen, now we get to go to the best part, the reinstall of the macOS. So reinstall macOS will install a new copy. You hit continue. You will need an internet connection, so it's important that you do have a Wi-Fi connection. Now, I'm installing macOS High Sierra because this is the best operating system, or I would say the highest operating system that this should go to. That's what I had anyway on the disk. So when you hit continue, of course, this can't be contacted. So that's why, again, it's important that your Wi-Fi is connected to your, yes, that is actually my Wi-Fi name. So once you go through this process, it probably takes a good 20 to 30 minutes to download and install the entire OS. And then you'll be back at the operating system in the beginning. And then that's it. You're at the setup. And you get to go forward and setting up your Mac. And as long as you get the Apple logo and you have the welcome screen, you are all set. And that's it. That's all you got to do to install a hard drive. I think that's pretty simple, self-explanatory. Apple does have a whole tutorial on how to erase and then reinstall. Also, for any reason, if you do not see the hard drive, so if I'm going back to disk utility, this drive has now just been formatted just to fast forward through time. But if you do not see this drive, that means something is not connected, likely. So either two things have happened. Either one, the drive you bought is not working and you may have to contact the manufacturer, or two, you might just have to go back in and reconnect your cables. I think it's very important to also check that, because don't assume that the drive's bad. Always try and reconnect the system. Sometimes dust gets in the way or it just wasn't connected properly, and that's what I would recommend doing prior to contacting any supporters, is double check your connections. But again, do not open this computer unless you have been discharged for 1 hour so you don't shock yourself. Well, that's the end of an episode here today. Oh, you got 17. I'm going to do mine. And
19.
That's 19. I win. That's right. Exactly. Well, that's how you repair a Mac. Somewhat.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy this, so make sure that you join us every Friday. Check out all the YouTube content that we have on our channel, including his Spotify versus Apple Music.
Yep.
We have app versus app, which we really enjoy doing. And we'll also have more coming up. So thank you for joining us for the Think Different podcast here in my lovely home.
Peace out.